After reading the Torah, some complain that the Torah's punishments are very harsh. However, despite the fact that the Torah speaks a lot about death penalty was rarely ever implemented. The conditions for executions are so restrictive that when the Jewish court sentenced people to death once in 70 years, it was called exceptionally bloody. For causing damage, the Torah imposes heavy fines. But what about corporal punishments? For a modern Western person, they seem barbarian. I agree. Corporal punishments are terrible. But the punishments we are using today are far less humane. The modern world somehow arbitrarily chooses what it calls humane and what it calls inhumane. Can you please explain to me why is prison considered a humane punishment? As a rabbi, I often have to visit prisons. And I see that this is a place where people get into for small crimes and learn how to commit big ones. Prisoners join gangs and learn new criminal skills. Jail has become a part of life for many people, and it does not deter them from committing a crime. The statistic of recidivism in the US is 76%. This means that out of 100 people who finished their sentence today, 76 will be back in prison within 5 years. Are you surprised? Prison not only does not reduce crime, but it has become a support system for criminal lifestyle. Corporal punishments are considered not humane. And please tell me, leaving children without fathers, is that humane? 85% of juvenile offenders grow up without a father. They say that at least prisons remove criminals from the street. Yes, they do. But in the meantime, we replace these criminals with their children who become offenders because grew up without a father. There's no prison punishment in the Torah. The closest thing that we see in the Torah is an exile for an unintentional murderer. However, people who are exiled, they are sent to the cities of Levites. The tribe of Levi were the teachers of the Torah, and they conducted the service in the temple. They had the holiest jobs in the Jewish nation. An exiled person should not be surrounded by criminals, but by those who can have a positive influence on him. The exiled person must find work, provide for his family, and be a productive member of the society. The sense of being productive, responsible for oneself and for the family is the biggest thing that can make someone retain his human image in his own eyes and improve himself. Right now, we put convicts in prison where they don't need to provide or even be responsible in any way for themselves or take care of their families. We take away from them the most basic incentive for existence. What I see all the time among prisoners is a feeling of hopelessness and not seeing a purpose for living. The modern culture considers corporal punishments barbarism, but causing an emotional pain, destroying a person's life, destroying a family, depriving a person of any purpose of existence, is that considered humane? Possibly, this is a result of a materialistic worldview of today's culture. It values only physical things, and therefore it does not recognize any pain except a physical pain. Corporal punishments seem not humane because when a person is beaten, we see his wounds. And when a person is suffering emotionally, his wounds are not visible on the surface. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps, wrote that in extreme conditions and everyday beatings, only those who saw a purpose for their living survived. If a person is emotionally healthy, he can survive any physical pain. If a person sees no purpose in existing, he is done. Scientists have long established that emotional suffering is far worse than any physical pain. Science has moved forward, but the secular view of which punishments it calls humane and which it calls inhumane has been left behind. The Torah's punishments are much more humane than the punishments of the modern Western society, which are, besides for everything else, as the statistics show, are completely ineffective.